Sustainability starts in the soil. Good evening and welcome to Channel 57 LFOK. I'm Trevor Lanning. Tonight, we're bringing you an inspiring story about how local farmers are making a big difference in our community. Schneider Farms has been producing crops and cattle for decades upon decades, but its impact goes beyond just agriculture. The history of Boston, Kentucky. Boston was the first founded in 1780, and like most towns in Kentucky, its growth was influenced by agricultural products such as tobacco, corn, cattle, and many more. The Boston Schoolhouse and its historic Shady Villa Hotel is a staple of the town. Boston is a town in Kentucky with a population of 215. Boston is in the west of Nelson County. Our reporter Landon Miller is on site.
We got done interviewing. Here's some of the questions that was off camera that we kind of talked about and some of the things he said. So one of the questions was, where does your grain go after you harvest and combine it? You know, some of the things he said. All of his beans go across the river for consolidation because he said he doesn't have the space or the facility there at his farm to keep it, so he just goes and sends them off. He said his corn will go into the bean or into the bins, and once it's time to sell, he sells them. Most of the time, he sells it to local distilleries here, but this year he didn't have a contract with the local distillery, so he was unsure of where the corn was going to go this year. Some of the other things. Another question was just questions about cattle and stuff. He said he has generally about 45 cows, give or take. And he is a grain and cattle farmer. So he's got a well-rounded brain about agriculture in that kind of sense of production ag. Something that he said was most difficult to find or about farming. The technology is really hard to learn if you don't know it. He says all this newer stuff, it's becoming more technology based, and he said at times it can be a struggle, and it can be a struggle for anybody, you know. And so he said that was one of the number one things. A little history that we had gotten to talking about was actually how he got into farming. And really, he said he's been farming.
We're back on video. Where was we at?
Well, I believe the last question was, where do you see the future of agriculture in the next 30 years?
It is really scary, the technology they got. I'm afraid big business will take it over. I hope it don't. It needs to stay in the family. But we don't have that option. So, you know, we got to feed the world.
Yep.
But it's really going to be a scary situation as far as me. You younger generations got to take care of it.
Yep.
So, it's just like anything else. You hope to go up. They keep improving them. You got less farmland because of development. So, I won't be around, but you guys will be. And I'm sure it was scary for my dad whenever he thought about me. So it changes.
Yep. Looking around, seeing all this equipment, which one would you say is probably your favorite to run or that you have that makes it easier on you?
The sprayer.
Sprayer?
We got a 4730, got Hereford booms on it. It's all pretty much controlled. It's enjoyable. We do have a new combine we're running now, and it's pretty nice too.
I bet.
So anytime you get something newer, we don't buy new equipment. We bought that 160, 120M, bought it new, but the other stuff's usually about 10 to 12 years old. So.
Standing here, right here, with a couple of the cows here, what, do you have like a specific feed that you feed them? Or?
When we will kill 5 every year. We take them to boom, they knock them down and hang them. Then we will get them, bring them back, kind of like the old time days when we processed everything at home. And I'll feed out 5 or 6 every year. Now, I do get a finished ration. I usually get it from Bluegrass Seed and Fertilizer. This year I went to TNT. I'm giving them some business. and they seem to be doing well on it. I feed them for 6 months. Put them on in 1st of July, and then we'll take them probably middle or between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay.
So,
just the last question here. Any advice you would give to the younger generation or anybody wanting to start out farming or anything?
you got to be patient. You got to be dedicated because there's a lot of your ups and down days. And I hate to say this, it took me probably until I was 50 before I started really where I could actually live on the farm. Before that, I had to work off the farm. So it's got to be a family decision. Just because you want it, if you're married, you got to make sure your wife wants it. Because if they don't want it, it ain't going to be a pretty sight. You lose every bit of it.
Well,
But that's, it's a good life. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. But a lot of hours. So that's about it.
all right. Well, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. And when?
Go.
As you can see, Shank Farms does more than just grow crops. It helps grow our community by supporting the community and the people, along with educating the youth within their organizations, from supporting local FFA chapters and the work that they do within the Nelson County Farm Bureau and the Cattlemen's Association to help strengthen local agriculture. And that's all we have here. Bring it back to you.
Thank you, Lennon. What a wonderful story. And thank you, Larry Shanks with Shank Farms, for taking time out of your busy schedule to tell us about your story. That's all for tonight's segment. This is Trevor Lanning signing off on Channel 57 LFOK News.